there, this is Dani. The channel is You and Me Living Free. I'm going to do a little talking head video today. I might put some pictures up here and post them here and there. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about what it's like to be out on the road in the van and then to go home and then to go back out again. Like this whole part of the journey that a lot of times I don't even show in videos, because if I'm out someplace, I usually just want to blink my eyes and be home. I don't typically enjoy travel days. I won't say I don't enjoy them. They're just a necessary thing that I have to do. I don't typically get a lot of joy out of them. I am trying to look for the joy in them. And this last time I have taken it slower than I ever have going home. And I planned certain things to do along the way that would keep me excited. But once I got past Albuquerque, all that went out the window. There was nothing I cared about seeing through Amarillo and Oklahoma City and on to, through Kansas and everything. It's quite a kind of a boring, uneventful ride. But I am learning things and I'm just having the experience of this. And I think for a lot of people who want to do van life or who will do van life or who are doing it, it's one of those things that it's like the pull of the road versus the pull of home. And for me, I had some powerful realizations this time as I was out on the road and I was heading for home. So first of all, let me get through the kind of the logistics, because I had a couple of interesting things happen that I think are good learning. Number one, I will never flip off a crazy driver ever again. And here's what happened. And I'll make this as short as I can, because you know me. I'm never really very short and direct and to the point. I've even thought about trying to make shorts, those videos, on YouTube and maybe even TikTok or whatever. But I'm like, how could I express anything in a minute or less? I ramble and I go down rabbit trails. Anyway, there I go. There's a prime example right there. So I'm on my way home. It's a 75-mile-an-hour zone. Driving down the interstate late afternoon, not too late, because I stop early because the sun is going down so early. I want to be stopped and settled far before sunset, because if I run into any challenges, I don't want to be driving at night. So I know my destination. I'm heading there and I'm passing a semi. And it's a 75 zone. I don't speed that much really. So in my older age, I used to speed like crazy when I was a kid. And then when I got pregnant, I really, really slowed down. And then since then, I've just never sped back up again. So I'm not a real fast driver, but I was probably going maybe 77 or so. I was just going around this semi. And as I'm getting about to here, I noticed this truck, this white truck coming up behind me, super, super fast. And I have a fear of being hit from behind because I have been rear-ended before, right? So he was coming super fast. If it's a 75 zone, he had to be going 95 or more. He was just really, and he slammed, just slammed right behind me and was so close to me, so close. At a certain point, I couldn't even look in the rearview mirror. I was petrified, and I kept my speed constant, and I just got around the semi, and I didn't cut the semi off. I had to get all the way around the semi and then pull over, right? And as I was coming up in front of the semi, but wasn't all the way around it yet, this white truck came up on this side, went out of the bounds of the road, and was trying to fly by me. I was so upset. I was livid at this man for putting my life in danger, what I felt like, right? And so without even thinking, I took my middle finger and I pressed it against my driver window. I didn't even look over at him, but I was like, oh, saying all the words, all the worst words you can think of is what I was saying in my head. I was livid. He's flying by me. And I pull over, and then he slows down, okay? He immediately flies by. I didn't look at him, but I knew he must have looked at me because he must have seen the finger, and it made him upset. We already know he's a crazy person because of the way he's driving. I flipped him off anyway. I didn't even think about it, but it was just what I would do in that situation, so I did it. I will never do it again. He slowed down. My immediate thought was, oh my God, this is a crazy person. Don't let him get level with you or he is going to run you off the road. And don't let him get behind you because he could bump you off the road or do something crazy, whatever, right? I'm like, don't let him get even with you because he's gonna try to run you off the road. That's honestly, in the moment, that's exactly what I was thinking. So he slows way down, so I slowed down. And then we do this march for like 30 miles down the highway where he never again even gets to the speed limit. He has slowed way down, but he's still in the passing lane and I'm still in the right lane. And then he gets right in front of me. And then as I continued to slow, eventually a couple of semis get in between us, which made me feel a little bit better. But he didn't then go ahead and accelerate and zoom past anybody because I was completely keeping my eye on him. So here's another thing that happened. When he flew by and then stopped, basically slowed way down, I was like, he's going to run me off, right? He's going to hurt me. So I have my phone right here mounted on my steering wheel to give me directions, or if in case I want to take video or whatever, I keep it there. And so I was literally shaky, but my intention was to like take a picture of his license plates. Because honestly, I thought if I'm dead, I want someone to catch this bastard. Like I at least want him to be caught if he kills me. I know this sounds dramatic, but in the moment it was so much. And so I shouldn't have been. It was a dangerous thing. I shouldn't have been, but I was fumbling with my phone as I was driving. Please don't judge, whatever, or judge whatever you want. But I took a picture, right? Well, I wasn't necessarily paying that close of attention to him. I wanted to get his license plate. Then I see, because he's right in front of me at this point, that he has rolled down his window and he has his phone in his hand like this, and he's holding it out his window like he wants me to know he's taking video of me. I mean, honestly, this solidified him as even more of a psycho. Anyway, you know how freaked out I was. And so anyway, the thing that continued to bother me was even 30 miles down the road, and I'm going to take an exit here pretty soon. Even 30 miles down the road, he had not sped up again. I never was quite going the speed limit again. I was going less than the speed limit. And every 5 minutes or so, another truck would kind of pass and we'd have people in between us. But I never lost sight of him, and he never got more than a few 3 or 4 semis ahead of me. I could still see him. And that was really freaking me out. Then I pull over at my town. I am parked in the parking lot where I'm going to be for the night. And still for the next probably 24 to 48 hours, I would have a little bit of a panic, like a trigger, to increase my heart rate and give me sweat on my palms every time I saw a white truck. Because I thought, I pulled off, he could have pulled off on the next exit and come back. Like where I was kind of parked out in the open. It was a big parking lot or whatever. It wasn't really logical, but I was worried. So why do I tell you this? Well, I immediately shared the story with my kids. So I wanted to tell my children because I felt like this was a message like, do not ever intentionally upset someone who you already have an idea of as being not quite safe and not quite right. You know, just doing these erratic behaviors and stuff. You know something about them already, so please don't flip anybody off. But if you're someone who does that, just from me, please don't. I'm going to try to absolutely never do that again. I've spent enough time on that story. It is what it is. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about on the way home were my car problems, because I had the dealership, the Toyota dealership of Santa Barbara, the service guy there told me, and I won't say his name. Maybe I should, but anyway, I'm not going to say his name. But he told me that the mechanics told him that I had a leak in my coolant system and that I needed $1,950 worth of work. And so almost $2,000 worth of work. I had another problem that cost me $600 to fix, but that was just to get me on the road. They said this wasn't immediate, like I couldn't leave, but it needed to be done, and it needed to be done now. So I made the decision not to spend that money, but to get a second opinion, to take coolant with me on the way home, and to worry about it constantly, or in and out of my mind would just be the worry. Every morning, or when I would get gas, I would check the coolant level, and it stayed the same through the whole way home. I took it to my mechanic at home. The name of the mechanic at home, in case anybody is in the Kansas City area and needs a good mechanic, is Lindan, Lindan. They're in Merriam, Kansas. They're amazing. So I took it in, and they told me that there is a big difference between seepage and a leak, and that they put my system under not a tremendous amount of pressure, but a really good amount of pressure to try to see if there was a leak, or if anything. They said, you have no leak. You have 0 leaks. You have a tiny bit of seepage by this one valve, and you have no leaks. So that was amazing to me. And by seepage, I just mean this comes out like so little. Like, now that they've shown me, I can kind of see where it is. It's like it would take days and days and days, weeks even, to get even like a little thimbleful. Like, it's just a tiny bit of the dark orange that you can see, the orange that you can see that has come out and kind of aerated and kind of built up. It's insane. So all that worry, all for nothing. There was nothing wrong. But when I was home, I did get I got my front brakes done, and that's just a matter of regular maintenance. And I got new tires, because I had that flat back in Death Valley, and because I just needed new tires anyway. And tires are very important, and we're heading into winter, so there's that. So that's it on the car front. What else on the way home? Okay, also on the way home, I was stopping in Winslow, Arizona after I left Sedona. And as I pulled into Winslow, I pulled into, like, the only thing they have on iOverlander is a truck stop, which is on the outskirts on the other side of town. And they have a spot at the, like, visitor center. Okay. Well, I pulled up at the spot by the trains that was kind of indicated on iOverlander. And I felt not great about it, but I felt not bad enough to leave. And I felt like it was a public place. And if I did get into any kind of trouble, I would be at this, at this place that I could get help. So I was walking in. I've been through Winslow many times, and I know there's a brewery pub with really good food there that I really like. And so I was headed over there I thought, oh, that's great. I'm parked for the night. I can have a drink. I'll have some food. It'll be great. So as I'm walking from my car the couple of blocks up to the place, there are a couple of guys that I see. They're just kind of meandering around, kind of shuffling around and stuff. And one is walking the opposite way of me, and I'm going this way down to get to my restaurant. And when he gets to the end of the street, to the light there, he turns around, and now he's going the same direction as me. And I just got a really funny feeling. And so I went back to the van, and I was really torn about what to do. I didn't even remember the truck stop at this point, but I knew there was nothing else really like in Winslow. So here's what I did. I called the City of Winslow Police Department non-emergency number. So just like their regular 7-digit number, 10-digit number. And I said, is there any place that's legal for me to sleep in my car just one night? I'm just passing through. And I said, I know about the visitor center, but, and she goes, yeah, she goes, you could sleep there, but I don't recommend it. It doesn't seem, she goes, there are safer places. And I was like, where? And she said, well, most people just park at Walmart. Okay. I don't know if any of you are this dense like me, but I never even thought of looking for a Walmart that would allow parking when iOverlander doesn't even list it. And that sounds silly, I think, honestly, as I say it out loud. But I had trusted in iOverlander, and I need not actually, all the time. It's a good source of information, but it can't be my only source, and I can't over depend on it. So, and since being out in California and everything, there are so many things on there that it's like, yeah, it was, nobody found us for a night and nobody bothered us and there were no signs. Yeah, but it's a whole city law that you can't do it, or the county there in Santa Barbara or whatever, that you cannot sleep in your car. It's the law. And you have people on iOverlander putting on spots that say, oh, we were at this dead-end street and nobody bothered us. Dude. That is not what I want to do, okay? I do not want to be, have a window knock at 2:30 in the morning and try to have to drive somewhere. So Winslow has a Walmart, and it was perfectly fine. And maybe I'll put a picture, because I took a couple of pictures on the way home, but they were so boring. It's just like my van and the Walmart coming at sunrise, you know, or something really silly, but whatever. So these are the only pictures of going home. Now, what's really interesting about going home is psychological, because on the one hand, I've been out on the road and I'm ready to go home. Here's the thing. A lot of me wanting to go home is like not having to worry about where I'm going to sleep. That's a lot of it, because whether you realize it or not, you are constantly in a place of, where am I going to sleep? Unless you're paying for a campground, you're paying for a hotel, you've got someplace set, or you've got Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel can be a godsend. Walmart can be a godsend. But even Walmart, I have yet to find a Cracker Barrel that said no, I couldn't park there, because I always call first. I always call, because that's how bad I don't want to get the knock. I just want to make sure. I've never had a Cracker Barrel say no, but I've had plenty of Walmarts say no. So I do not depend on it, but it is, you know, they're vital. And I think it's always in the back of my mind, just not always having a place or having to find a place. All of that kind of weighs. And so it makes you want to go home. Also, what makes you want to go home is just your loved ones. My kids are really it for me. I love my friends and stuff. And when I go home, I have, a lot of times I'll just be social for a while. And if I'm home for 2 weeks, I might go to happy hours or go to a friend's house or hang out, 5 or 6 different times. And that's great. And I love that. But really what I really discovered, what I really learned about myself on my way back to Kansas, was that the location is a negative for me. Going to Kansas, the location of Kansas is a negative for me. And primarily for 2 reasons. Primarily, number one is gray days. And Illinois has even more of these than Kansas. I grew up in Illinois and moved to Kansas as a 20-something. Sorry, there's a siren. And for anybody who loves Kansas, wonderful. I'm glad you love Kansas. I'm not saying Kansas is bad. I'm saying for me, just for me, I could feel as I went further and further along, and it started around Amarillo. It started really like hitting Texas, hitting kind of that Midwest, and then Amarillo, and then Oklahoma City, and then up through all of Kansas and Oklahoma and stuff. Is the whole area of the Midwest makes me feel on kind of a lower vibrational vibe. It even driving across the states starts to make me feel these feelings of trapped, moving slow, like you're moving through molasses or something, and kind of a heaviness. And a lot of it is the grayness in the sky, and also the cooler and cold temperatures. So the weather is a lot of it. But it's also just the flatness, having nothing dynamic really to look at or anything. And I don't want that to sound so superficial. It's not like I always have to have this stimulation and everything. But so getting home is kind of depressing. the drive to get there. Once I'm there, I love seeing my kids. I love hanging out with my friends, but that's it. I don't really enjoy anything other than that. I enjoy not having to think about where I'm going to sleep at night, not even giving it a thought. That's delightful. This time home, I took care of car problems and took care of business and stuff, and then headed right back out on the road. I'm already back on the road when I'm making this video. When I get home, it's like I stop. My creative process of making the videos and stuff kind of stops. It's like Newton's law, right? I think it's Newton, the laws of motion or of physics or whatever, is like a body at rest tends to stay at rest, and a body in motion tends to stay in motion. When I'm traveling and when I'm in motion, when I'm going, when I'm waking up excited to see what I get to see today, excited to do what I get to do today, it just brings me with this motivation, this being compelled by joy and by being pulled towards something. And when I go home, kind of all that stops. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, it'll be nice to be home because I can do this van project and I can catch up on all my editing and get all my videos posted and everything. And really what happens when I get home is I kind of stagnate. The only momentum or the excitement that I have is in the people and those experiences with them. But otherwise, I kind of stagnate. So as I'm thinking about this journey in the long term, whoops, there goes my little light. As I'm thinking about this journey in the long term, I don't know exactly if I will ever be full-time on the road. I will probably always be the kind of person who wants to have a home base, even if I only go there 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. Hopefully my kids, when they get out of college and everything, they'll be around. I don't think there's a good chance either one of them is going to stay in Kansas. So they will be around and I will be around seeing them. And so I can't imagine needing a place to really have all the time once they're completely gone and everything. I don't know. That's part of the journey, is that you don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to know the next few steps. It's like taking those hikes that are challenging, right? I don't have to think about, can I make it clear to the end? I just have to think, okay, I'm learning, I'm going, and here's the next step that presents itself, and the next step, and the next step. So I'm enjoying that kind of the process. And the reason I didn't make this video as I was actually going through it is because I think sometimes when you're going through it and you're feeling a little bit of depression, you're feeling a little bit of heaviness and everything, you don't have the clarity to understand the full picture of what's going on and how it kind of fits in. And there's nothing really that I could have said that would have been beneficial or would have been beneficial to you or to me or to anyone, really. I mean, it was just kind of grouchy and it was getting kind of gray and kind of cold. And I was like, ugh, what am I doing here? And maybe I should have just skipped going home for Thanksgiving, I thought. Because it's so expensive. If I think about if I had stayed out in California, but then again, because I'm going clear out to the southwest, to the very, very, very southwest, like California, Arizona border, and very far south, like almost to Mexico, I'm going out there for January, February kind of time. If you're watching like the RTR, like I'll be in Quartzsite, I'll be doing all of that. So I did have to come home at some point. I couldn't have skipped Christmas and everything, but I was saying, think how much money I could have saved if I just stayed out there instead of coming all the way back to Kansas, 1,600 miles, 1,600 miles. It's like a 24-hour trip, 24, 25, and I can only do 3, 4, 5 hours a day, so it took a long time. And all that gas and all that everything, if I could have stayed out there and used that time to explore, it would have been completely different. So yeah, that's just part of it. And that's part of what you're going to have to look at as van life and as your expenses and everything, is how often are you going to go back and forth, if at all, and how that's going to feel. And I don't know if there's a way you can know how it's going to make you feel until you actually get out there and start doing it. I think that's all I wanted to say. Just, I can't believe you made it to the end of another video. I'm always a little surprised sometimes more than a little. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm sending you tons of love, tons right now. Just sending it all out to you. Thanks. Let me know you're here. Let me know with the comments. It's funny because I can have people who watch or whatever, but it's like when you comment and when we start a conversation, it's like you become really alive to me, and it takes things to another level. So I really enjoy my comments back and forth. I enjoy hearing from people, positive, negative, all of it, really, on some level. I mean, nobody likes the negative stuff or the you should do this or I don't like this, but it's all useful and wonderful if you look at it in the right way. So whatever it is, feel free to share it. And I'm sending you tons of love, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Okay, I thought of one other little thing to mention, which is my hair. So I'm out on the road again. I'm on my next trip already. You'll find out very soon where that is. And I normally, whenever I go home, I buzz the hair again. But this time I did not do that. I'm considering letting the hair grow just a tiny bit. Not ever to be long again, not ever to be in my face, but just to potentially have a style and have some hair. And just for fun, I dyed it blonde again. I was blonde for years and years and years. I like the gray too, but the blonde felt like it might be fun. And then I thought if it didn't work, that would be no big deal. I would just wait for it to grow out half an inch and then buzz it off again, and then it'd be back to the gray. It'd be no big deal. So when I was home, I dyed the hair. Now, this cracks me up because it looks like a little mohawk. So when I was home, I actually got my first official haircut, but I just had her just barely kind of trim up all around here, and then just the layers and everything, just the tiniest bit to kind of clean things up. But I didn't want any of the length really taken off, except for like around back and around my ears, but that's about it. So it had very little cutting done, so it's really kind of growing out. But the style is funny because here's the thing. I don't style my hair. I don't use any product in my hair, and I don't even brush it. Every once in a while, if I have a patch that's sticking up really bad, I squirt it with water and pat it. But here's the deal. I sleep on my side, and then I rotate around and roll to the other side, and I sleep on my sides all night long. So I'm thinking my sides just get pushed in, and the top gets kind of pushed up. And that's where my hairstyle comes from. Anyway, I've talked about it when I first buzzed my hair, when my daughter helped me with it. I've talked about kind of like psychologically and everything that took, and it was pretty much an act of bravery for me. I was pretty chicken to do it for a long time, but I have a video about that if anybody wants to watch it. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. Anyway, but since I have been talking about my hair for a while and talking about the fact that I don't have a mirror in the van, so the only time I even look at my hair is when I'm recording a video and I'm like, oh, that's what my hair looks like today. Or if I look in the rearview mirror sometimes, I'll glance and be like, oh, that's really sticking up pretty bad over there. But it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it matters very, very, very little. But I can say so far I'm having fun with it. I don't want to get to a point where I have to think about it or whether I have to style it or whatever. But for now, it's working. So anyway, another 3 minutes of me rambling on, and now you really deserve a medal. So catch you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, one final thing, and then I really am done. I am going to start putting a thank you to my patrons at the end of each and every video. This is all of the patrons who started contributing in November or before. So as of December 1st, these were the patrons, and then each month I will update the list, update the people on the list to say thank you to, and put it at the end of another video. So thank you to all my patrons. I love you. If you're watching this still, hats off to you. Sending you tons of love. If you're a patron, Thank you so much for that support and that love. I really, really appreciate it. And here's to you.